Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we're journeying back in time, way back to a moment that fundamentally changed everything for our species. We're talking about the discovery and mastery of fire. Can you imagine a world without it? A world of perpetual twilight, cold nights, and raw food? That was the reality for our early ancestors. So, how did it all begin? The first encounters with fire were likely terrifying. Picture this: a lightning strike ignites a dry forest, or a volcano spews lava, setting the landscape ablaze. For early hominins, these natural events were probably sources of fear. But curiosity is a powerful human trait. At some point, a brave or perhaps just very cold individual dared to approach the strange, warm, dancing light. Archaeologists believe that our ancestors, perhaps Homo erectus as far back as 1.5 million years ago, started by tending natural fires. They wouldn't have known how to create it, but they learned to capture it. They would have carried embers from a lightning strike or a wildfire back to their camps, carefully feeding the flame with twigs and dried leaves, keeping it alive like a precious, life-giving pet. This was a massive cognitive leap, understanding cause and effect and planning for the future. Mastering fire was a game changer for survival. The most obvious benefit? Warmth. Fire allowed ancestors to survive cold nights and expand into harsher, cooler climates, moving out of Africa and across the globe. It also provided light, extending the usable day past sunset. The darkness, once filled with unseen predators, was now pushed back by the protective circle of a campfire. This new sense of security was revolutionary. It meant less time spent hiding in terror and more time for social bonding, storytelling, and developing culture. And let's not forget about the food. Cooking was perhaps the single most important consequence of controlling fire. Applying heat to food does more than just make it taste better. It breaks down tough fibers and kills harmful bacteria, making food safer and easier to digest. This meant our bodies could extract more energy and nutrients from the same amount of food. Some scientists argue that this outsourcing of digestion to fire allowed our guts to shrink and freed up metabolic energy that could be redirected to another, very hungry organ, our brains. That's right, cooking may have literally fueled the expansion of the human brain. But how did we go from capturing fire to creating it on demand? That breakthrough likely happened much later. The earliest methods were probably based on friction. Think of the classic image of rubbing two sticks together, or using a fire drill, a stick spun rapidly in a notch on a piece of wood. Another early technique was striking certain stones, like flint against pyrite, to create a spark that could ignite dry tinder. Imagine the sheer joy and empowerment of that first person who successfully created fire from scratch. It was a declaration of independence from the whims of nature. The mastery of fire wasn't just a technological achievement. It transformed us. It fostered community as people gathered around the hearth. It powered new technologies, from hardening the tips of wooden spears to eventually, much later, forging metals. Fire is woven into our very DNA as a species. It's a symbol of warmth, community, protection, and innovation. Every time you light a stove or flick on a light switch, you read tapping into a legacy that began with a curious ancestor reaching for a flickering flame over 1 million years ago. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey back in time. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe for more adventures into our shared past, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. See you in the next video.